Boom to the hey, all you sports fans out there in the tubosphere, or to you, the individual. As part of that collective, one is the most important number. Welcome to the OMSR. I am your brief but very concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Thrill. Along with Dwayne Darnett, ultimate sports fan, and a few of the Pi Kappa Alpha House sweethearts. Dwayne being the OMSR mascot. PKA, your view chapter Alpha Tau, give you props. Emphasize that the OMSR does focus on college sports. However, Pete Carroll's interview post-Super Bowl. That's what we're focused on here. Some of the images, it's been like all the talking points in sports this week. May have not seen per se. This is where the Polit'ai Chi playlist on the parent channel of the OMSR sort of collide, like I say in the description, where the OMSR and politics collide with MacGyver. So on the Quickie Sport Rant, you may have noticed, got my UW sweatshirt there in support of you Seattle fans. 1991 National Championship, made in America, on the label, believe it or not. Bought it in 1990. Had a feeling that team. Alright, so the theme of this show is got into some of the better talking points with, or from, Coach Carroll. Interview with Matt Lauer on today. So I would just say on the Quickie Sport Rant of the segment to those of you in Seattle. Alright, so I want to say it's what, been 5-6 years since Coach Carroll left USC. And those of us in SoCal love the USC swag. Not so much swag, I mean it's beyond swag. It's swag. Feng shui swag. And you could take his comments verbatim. He's like the ultimate representation of, like, even beyond Coach Phil, in the sense of what he is saying is true. And you're going to hear a representative from Seattle talk about, it would just be nice if we could put this to bed if somebody would just come out from the top down, trickle down economics in a way. It was a mistake. That's not how Coach Carroll thinks. He didn't let Vince Young run into the end zone. The end zone, I, personally spent some time in, or 4th of July, get together with some backstage access, or VIP access rather, 4th of July at the Rose Bowl. Yeah, it kind of felt funny, Well, Coach Carroll is a player's coach. Like it alludes to or harkens back to what I've told some of you guys in some of the Quickie Sport Rants in the past. If your girlfriend's giving you a hard time, why are you watching all these collegiate games when you didn't go to school there, nobody you work with or work for, or any other affiliation that might help further your life? Why do you care about this school when you haven't been east of Colorado? I like the coach. I like the type of people the coach recruits. And so this is very true of Pete Carroll, and you'll hear some of this coming up. And so that's my 2 bits. Alright, thanks for watching. No silly DUIs while you're out there. Remember, sports and alcohol, they are joined at the hip. Roll clip.
You can never win that Super Bowl again. That one's gone. So let's talk about turning the corner and turning the page. You said something on the radio that caught my attention. You said, and I'm paraphrasing here, Coach, you said, my whole life has equipped me to deal with this moment. Can you explain that to me?
I'm a really optimistic, positive person that thinks that the next thing that's going to come up is going to be a good thing. And it doesn't really matter what situation I'm in. That's just kind of the way that I'm wired.
Have you been able to sleep over the last 3 nights?
Yeah, I'm sleeping some. I'm doing okay. But I wake up and you can't stop thinking about it. But it's the sleep part works because we're so worn out after the 6 months of the season that you can't help but fall asleep. But it's the waking up is that it's getting back to sleep is the
Have you allowed yourself to have that one moment lying in bed where the tears flowed, where you're smiling at me, but I mean it. Has there been that moment?
Yeah, that happened at that 4:05 mark on the, that hit.
Tuesday morning?
Yeah, that's when there was a break where I allowed, all of the rush of it to hit.
Were you alone at that point? Or with your family?
Just lying in bed with Glenn, and that's it. Just waiting in the middle of the night. 4:05 a.m. And that's what happened. That was my opportunity to go ahead and visit it.
So you don't think you're the kind of guy who's going to be 5 years down the road still thinking what coulda, shoulda been?
No, let me tell you this one. These don't go away. These occurrences, they don't leave. These occurrences have stayed with me over the years in a manner that they fuel me. You know, the one at SC after, you know, third national championship opportunity, you know, 19 seconds left, 4th and 7. Those don't go away. I don't ever lose. I don't even want to lose those. You know, I don't want to wash them out and then ignore them. I just want them to be in the place that they're going to help me be right.
Team meeting yesterday, right?
Yes.
You had all the players together and the coaches. And what do you call it on Mondays?
It's Tell the Truth Monday.
Tell the Truth Monday.
Yeah.
So you stood up in front of that group of players who had to still be in shock and a bit heartbroken.
Varying degrees, yes.
What was the truth you told them?
I wanted to make sure that they went through the whole process of what happened at the end, so they knew.
Went through the play again,
went through the whole thinking and everything, and reminded them of how we had prepared and how we've done things, so they realized that whether or not you want, even the players want to agree with the way we did it, know that this is the way we have practiced and prepared ourselves to execute in this moment.
Did they all agree? Did anyone dare stand up and raise their hand and say, "Coach"?
They could have, but they didn't. Nobody did. I don't think at this point everybody's on the same page about that sequence necessarily, but that's okay.
You said on the radio, "We're going to make this right." How do you make it right?
By getting to the truth. By getting in there, talking about it, facing it up. Everybody's cleared their minds. That's when you finally gather and you're ready to take that next step. We're going to go places that are going to be extraordinary.
So there's a story of redemption that you've already begun to write?
It's well underway.
How do you think Coach Carroll's handling it? We will ask a sports shrink. Joining me now from Seattle is Huffington Post sports columnist Jordan Schultz, and from Florida, sports psychologist Harold Shiniski. He is the author of the new book, Take Control of Your Anxiety. Doctor, how do you think the coach is handling it?
I am so impressed at his honesty, his ability to take responsibility. Obviously, there's an offensive coordinator who helped call the plays. But the reality is, like he said, it's a process. You never have a perfect play. Things have to be executed. And in that situation, down in distance, they came up with a play, which, if I'm not mistaken, Laurence, you realize 1 yard away from the end zone, 66 times it's been passed,
Yeah.
0 interceptions.
Right.
So they were looking at that in a reality. And unfortunately, the rub play didn't work, where the defensive back didn't get shoved back, but actually made a beeline. So we should be celebrating the defense that actually looked at the way the play was set up. And that was a remarkable defense.
Jordan Schultz, we invited you back tonight because we're worried about you. And we have a shrink here to help you.
should be.
Yeah. You know, as a Seattle native and, you know, watching this happen to your team up there, you know, we're going to give you Dr. Shiniski's number, too, so you can have a private consultation with him. Because
I need a personal line and a couple emails.
How are you and the rest of Seattle processing Coach Carroll's reaction to all this? You watch this Matt Lauer interview, you hear him talking about what he was thinking. You also hear him talking about how he's handling it. It's bothering his sleep. He spilled some tears about it. I'm sure he's not the only one in Seattle who lost sleep and some tears about it.
Yeah, no question about it, Laurence, and I'm so happy to be back on because Seattle really is the quietest I've ever seen it. Grew up here for 20 years.
And
I don't remember
wants
a time.
to talk about this up there, right? Like it's
no
just
one. It's like a Morgan here. Nobody understands what happened, and I think that the one thing is with Pete Carroll, people would like to see him say, "Hey, we made a mistake." Now, there is a sense that the call went wrong, but playing the result is maybe what is bothering some Seattleites, some Seahawk fans that, you know, would actually like to see the coach say, "We made a mistake. It was the wrong play call." And obviously, if the call works, we're celebrating it. But I still am not convinced that even if the play resulted in a touchdown, it was the right call.
And, Doctor, what I was so impressed by psychologically in what he was just saying to Matt was, yes, this thing is never going to go away, and I think we all understand that part of it. But what moves him forward is being an optimist, that belief that he has, that optimists have. I don't know where they get it, but this belief that the next thing's going to be good, the next thing's going to be better.
That's a great attitude to have. If you believe in yourself and the process, you're able to look positively, optimistically, live and learn. We always talk about it with our athletes and coaches that you have to develop a short-term memory. So you live and learn. You cannot dwell on the past because you can't change it. And so being able to take the situation, realize there are no guarantees. All you can ever do is increase your probability of success.
Now you have the whole offseason to lead 53 men through a situation where they've never been through and really hoped they never would have to experience. I think the one thing about Pete Carroll, the success that he's had at the college level and now at the NFL level, is he's a leader and the players love playing for him. He's obviously not the most well-liked guy across the NFL in terms of head coaches, but he's a guy that the players all swear by because he lets them be them. And I think in that situation, he trusted Russell Wilson. And I listened to the mic'd-up version of the game, and Russell Wilson kept saying, trust me, trust me. So there is a connection there. And I think Pete Carroll, if anybody is apt to be able to overcome this and get a group of guys together moving forward, it would be him.
All right, now let's listen to his response to Matt Lauer's big question, might be the biggest question of all. Would you do it again?
Take the outcome out of it, because nothing you can do about that. You'd make the same call if the situation were the same today.
We can change the rhythm of those calls. One of the calls was going to be a pass in there to stop the clock. A timeout would stop one. An incomplete pass for the game's over if you win, if you score. So that happened to be that one. Going back again, I might do it differently. I'm not going to tell my opponents which way I'm going to do it.
Agreed.
Doctor, we've seen coaches who, under that kind of stress, end up with cardiac problems, end up with ALS, or they internalize it. What I'm hearing from him is he seems to be processing this about as healthfully as you can.
Absolutely. He has the capacity to be able to look at the situation, realize based on going over film, getting all the scouting reports, what they can do in this moment to increase the probability of success. And in his mind, this decision was a realistic and a positive one. It didn't work out. Just because they lost in the Super Bowl, as they say, second place isn't first loser. The ability to be able to harness this for the next year.
Now, Jordan, Coach Carroll has, I think, pulled out of this remarkably well. We're still worried about you. And I'm going to send you the full Matt Lauer interview, because I want you to memorize the coach's responses to this, okay? So you can internalize them, because it'll help you, I think, get through tomorrow and the time it will take to get another Super Bowl win in Seattle.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Laurence. I will point to the fact that Pete Carroll said, if we score, it's over. My question to that would be, exactly, so run the ball and don't worry about the clock. But that is a conversation I'll probably be having the rest of my life with myself.
Jordan Schultz and Dr. Harold Shinitzky, thank you both very much for joining us.
Thank you.